What's going on, everyone? Welcome to this week's Big Couch Co-op podcast, a community where your thoughts count and your voice will be heard. This week, as always, we're going to be talking about the biggest news in video games, movies, tech, and much, much more. So call a cushion on the couch and let's do this. All right, everyone. So just a little bit of housekeeping this week. I first want to remind you, everyone out there, that the podcast is on YouTube from here on out. YouTube.com. Just search for us under Big Couch Co-op, and we should pop up there. So all you audio listeners, again, you can see your big, beautiful bearded boy here. That's a lot of bees. And I understand, a lot of you guys have busy lives. You can't really, watch too much of the YouTube videos. I understand it. And then, like me, my kids have my phone a good 60, 70, 80% of the time. So, prying it out of their little hands is hard to do. So maybe you can get a little revenge on them and, put it on your iPod or whatever, stream it through your car, and on the next soccer practice or run around town, you can submit them to, listen to some nerdy news. And again, hey, I just want to say thank you so much for everyone that's been supporting me in this crazy adventure that I'm doing. I know it's not the best quality like we've talked about before, but I'm not going to get on a rant of self-deprecation again. I just want to say thank you, and it's going to get better and better as we keep going. It's a learning curve, but I'm going to get there, and I do appreciate everyone's views of the video. And, again, share it with all your friends and family. Let them know that there is a guy out there that is extremely passionate about this kinds of stuff. So I'm really just looking forward to connecting with the community and getting the information out there to everyone else. Okay. So jumping straight into news, Nintendo has kind of gone off the deep end, in my personal opinion. With their newest announcement of the Nintendo Labs or whatever you want to call it. It's a little weird. If you haven't seen or heard anything about this in the past week or so, stop what you're doing, Google search real quick, take a look. Holy, if you have not heard this or seen about this monstrosity, to me it's just a cash grab. It's an attempt to get people to buy more crap from Nintendo. Again, Nintendo, I don't have a Switch, so if you want to send one to me, maybe I can take a look at the Nintendo Labs, or again. This, to me, is just, again, it's a cash grab. These Labos, or whatever you want to call them, are basically a set of printed cardboard templates that you can, you purchase, and you build various different types of things to interact with the Switch and whatnot. Meaning, like, if you're playing a video game, you get this print off of the a fishing rod and reel and all that, and you hook up a little string to it, and you can actually interact, and you put one of the Joy-Cons in there, and you can play with the Switch screen. Again, just take a look at it. Again, personal opinion, to me, it's a cash grab. There's a ton of things. Maybe it appeals for kids. Maybe it's just something to get people to buy into the Switch system. I don't know. It's crazy. If you've already adopted it, great. Let me know how it is. Yeah, again, not a huge fan of it. A little weird, but that's Nintendo. They do weird things, so it is what it is. Some other news over at Activision. CEO Eric Hirshberg. I don't want to say Heisenberg, but yeah. Eric Hirshberg is actually set to leave the company back at the end of this upcoming March. He's been there since 2010, and he's been a part of the company since then, seen huge success, especially with Call of Duty franchise, and they took over Blizzard. So a lot of crazy things coming out there. But it makes me wonder, where is Activision's going to go with their next leadership position? Who are they actually going to pick? So, and is that going to affect the direction of their future games that they got coming up, or the company in and of itself? Are they going to shutter down some of their studios? What does that mean? So, it's a crazy time over there. But hey, hopefully he gets some much needed rest over his retirement. Or if he goes somewhere else, we'll follow that up too. All right, next up, I want to kind of get a slight overview of some of the games that are releasing for the rest of this month. You got the Street Fighter V Arcade Edition just came out, Lost Sphere, The Inpatient, Monster Hunter World. I know there was a beta out. I didn't actually get to play that, or I didn't play that, rather. And then kind of Sony leaning hard on that Monster Hunter cult following is that Sony's releasing a PlayStation 4 Special Edition for Monster Hunter. It's got a controller specialized for it, got some graphics on it and all that. So, hey, if you're into Monster Hunter, cool. Not my kind of thing, but you never know. So we kind of covered some of the upcoming video games for the rest of this month. But I want to kind of jump into some of the games that are going to come up in the next, 2-3 months. I don't want to jump too far ahead because if I do, then you can go down that rabbit hole and it gets too much. But some of the games that are coming out in the near future that I would like to highlight are like Metal Gear Survive. I'm a huge fan of Metal Gear series. I've probably played the first iteration on PlayStation 1. Now I know it's not the very first game. It was on, I believe, Super Nintendo or Nintendo. But the first game for PlayStation 1, I spent hundreds of hours actually playing that game. I replayed it several times, got all the different endings. I loved it. I absolutely loved it, and that was the first game that showed me that video games were more than just spending time. You're wasting your time rather, and you're just getting coins and collecting and whatnot. It showed me that it's a bigger platform. They could actually tell great stories, and these people want more from video games, so they're developing more from video games. And that was the first time I got to realize it and see that. Now, I did get to play more of the games as they came out. I played almost actually all of them. I didn't finish the last one. It was pretty big, the massive open world, but it is what it is. And now with Kojima not being with Konami, this is kind of a weird direction. Alana Pierce actually over at IGN got some hands-on time with the game, the actual game, and in a recent article she points out, quote, This is first and foremost a survival game with unforgiving thirst and hunger systems that deplete by the second," unquote. So it kind of gives you a decent idea of what the game should be focusing on. It's more, again, a survival based situation that's set in the Metal Gear verse. Yeah, that's kind of about it, though. It's all just kind of set in the Metal Gear verse, and it's something else. Now, I did get some hands-on with the beta that just came out. To be honest with you guys, I played about maybe 15 minutes of it. Can't stand it. Can't stand it whatsoever. I was going to talk more about what Alana said, and she's probably a little bit more forgiving than I am, but I can't stand it. I thought it was horrible. It's literally Left 4 Dead, but Metal Gear skin game with crappy system. There's not much more to say. It's pretty skin deep. I couldn't stand it. Not something for me. Again, there might be something different that when it comes out, it may change some things. People may give a lot of these reviews and say this is not a game that we wanted. And I know, again, Hideo left, and the visionary of Hideo taking his ideas with him kind of is going to change up where they're going to go with the series if they continue to do it. But if they're smart, they'll kind of just leave it where it's at. There's not much more to say with that system, and you don't have the visionary of Hideo Kojima being with the team anymore. So just leave it where it's at. Just walk away. Again, to me, it just seems like Dead Rising with the Metal Gear skin. That's all. Again, I gave the beta a try. Maybe I'll go back and take a look at it again. But if you're a hardcore Metal Gear Solid fan, don't play this whatsoever. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not saying, oh, well, there was bad blood between Hideo and Konami. I can't stand them. This horrible game. No, it's just, in and of itself, this game is bad. It's just bad. So far. Next game kind of coming out is kind of intriguing because I can see a couple different aspects to it that could be pretty cool. Is Sea of Thieves. Again, it seems pretty interesting and something that I think I'm going to take a look at with my kids. I think that the pirate themed game with looting and you going through the high seas is something pretty cool. You're going from land to land and you're doing high seas battles with other ships. Is something that's pretty relatively unexplored. Now we did have Assassin's Creed Black Flag that kind of did it, and people loved it, but I don't think it was too kid friendly on that. So I think I'm gonna try this out with my kids and see where we go from there. But I think it'd be pretty cool, especially for a family experience. Next game I want to talk about, and I'm kind of need you guys to think back to the Video Game Awards or the Game Awards, whatever they're being called anymore. And if you guys remember Jeff Keighley, he was interviewing a director for an upcoming game, and this director kind of went off the rails, and he went off in a huge tirade about how games were better in Hollywood and was swearing, and you could just see the tension and Keighley going, "Oh, what did I do? What did I do?" Yeah, that guy's name is Youssef Fars. He's from Hazelight Studios, and they're based out of Sweden. Fars or Fairs or whatever you want to call him. I can't pronounce that last name. Again, you guys know so thus far that I'm horrible with names. But Fairs directed Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons. Pretty good game. I actually played a decent amount of it. I liked how the brothers interacted and how you had to control them with the joysticks and all that. So thought it was pretty cool. After listening to this guy's this long tirade about whatever it really was, I think I may have even put the TV on mute to just go, okay, we're done. Nobody wants to listen to this. I was pretty turned off by his game, and I hadn't even seen it. But then I saw the trailer for it. I was actually pretty impressed. Now his game, like I said, it's a unique take on third-person co-op games. And again, we're Big Couch Co-op, so that's the idea behind all of this. It's a third-person perspective game, but it's split screen based in mine. So you play this position of either Leo or Vincent, and these are two convicts that are breaking out of prison, and then you kind of follow their little journey after they break out of prison, and you get a little bit of their backstory. And the cool thing that I read is that as you're playing one or the other, if a cutscene plays for that person, it gives you more of their backstory. The other person playing, or if you're not playing that active person, you continue to go on in the world. So a cutscene is playing on half of the screen while you're continuing to play. So that's a unique concept. I haven't really seen that before. Again, if we have, I can't think of it, but it's pretty cool. So I'm looking to check that out. And the next game I'd really like to dive into is something I haven't played, and I haven't touched the series in quite a long time, is Far Cry 5. Now, I know people are out there going, Far Cry was actually amazing, especially, 4 people fell in love with. I remember playing Far Cry 1 when it came out on the PC. I had a horrible, crappy little PC back then, and I was trying to play these, graphic-intensive games, and it was all right. It didn't grab me. It was right around the time gaming wasn't huge in my life. I had other things going on. But Far Cry 5, something about this concept of the setting and the premise actually grabs me. I think it's going to be actually really, really cool, because the setting is in Montana, and you play the sheriff in the town, and I guess of a adjacent town, because the story kind of follows the antagonist, Joseph Sneed, and he leads a cult, if you will, or a church, whatever they're calling it in the system, in Eden's Gate, his followers are in the cult called Eden's Gate, and they take control of an entire county, Hope County, and all the people in it are pretty much in the control of this Eden's Gate. So much so that they won't even contact the outside world because they're afraid for their lives. They're intimidated. They don't want anything bad to happen to them. So it's your job as the law to pretty much come in and investigate and figure out what's going on. So the take on a modern twist of something that could actually happen and has happened in America before, I think is a really cool idea. So, I'm looking forward to it. I think I'm going to give it a try. And then another game, again, I got a lot of these. Another game that I've played the entire series before, every last one of them, even Ascension, is God of War. I'm excited as all get out to play this game because it's not the same game as they've been before. That being said, though, I appreciated the God of War games for what they were. They were slash 'em, beat 'em up games. Get from point A to point B, solve some puzzles, kill some dudes, and get a decent kind of history lesson to a certain extent. And that was all it was. Kratos wasn't some overshadowing guy with great backstory and all that. Yeah, we know that you find out through a couple of games that his family died, but you actually killed him because you were under some kind of spell situation going on. So there was a story, but it was really muddied, and there wasn't a lot to it, and Kratos seemed pretty one-dimensional, like, I gotta get from point A to point B, and there's gonna be some puzzles. So, that game series is what it was meant to be, and people give those games crap because, there was no depth. No, there wasn't supposed to be depth. Why? Because God of War was right around the same time Prince of Persia was, its kind of second iteration because Prince of Persia had been out prior to this. But Prince of Persia for the PlayStation systems and Xbox had, kind of a second iteration, and that's all they were doing is some puzzle games. So it was kind of like a new take on Tomb Raider. So all these games were playing off of each other, and that's all God of War was, is it was their interpretation of Prince of Persia. So, people gave God of War a bunch of crap for it, but that's all they were trying to do was make money. This setting and this take on it is really cool because now you have Kratos as a father, and the father-son combination fighting through these levels, it gives a little bit more weight and backstory to it. You could see Kratos thinking through his actions before he just jumps headlong into battle. He's concerned for his son, and he's teaching him these things as they go along. So it's just a different take on it. It gives a little bit more weight and meat to the story of it. So I'm looking forward to it. I know it's only supposed to be between like 8 and 12 hours or something like that, but I think it's going to be an awesome game. So I'm going to give it a look. I'm not sure they actually pushed out a release date. I know it's still supposed to be Q1 this year, so we'll see when that comes out. And then finally on my list of games that I cannot wait to play just because of the kind of the hype train that's been surrounding it is Red Dead Redemption 2. Awkwardly enough, I have not played any of the Red Dead games in the series, or the Redemption games, or Dead games, or whatever you want to call them. I did not play first the Red Dead Revolver. I did not play Red Dead Redemption. They just were not, again, hitting me in the right places of where I wanted to play those kind of games, and right around the time games were not huge in my life. So this iteration, again, with the hype of it, seems like it's going to be really awesome. I know it's, by Rockstar, so this, it's kind of a, Grand Theft Auto, Wild Wild West experiment or experience, whatever you want to call it. But this one seems like there's probably going to be a little bit more story to it. Still stick to that open world format, but I think it'd be pretty cool. And then, as the year goes on, I want to, project a little bit further out. Once we get the games that we've just talked about and, been able to review them a little bit, I'd like to get a little further out and discuss some of those games that we could see. But again, I don't want to get too far ahead because, you could keep going down a rabbit hole, and what's the point in that? So my question to you guys is, what's a couple of games that you would love to see in the next couple of months? Hopefully they do come out and you can review them. So what are the games that you're looking forward to? For me, the biggest game I'm looking forward to is either God of War or whatever some From Software is actually going to push out. So we'll see if that game actually comes out. So this all kind of brings me to the next topic, and kind of like a topic of this podcast show, whatever you want to call it. And you guys probably clicked on this because you saw it. And, well, if you made it this far, or you scrolled this far to watch it, sorry, I'm not actually going to do it. Because this video was tagged about destroying a PS4 and an Xbox One. Well, I'm not going to destroy a PS4 and an Xbox One. That's just not going to happen. Sorry. Again, a little bit of clickbait on my behalf, but I want to address this to everyone out there. So earlier last week, while messing around on YouTube late at night, I actually came across a video of this guy, and it said something to the effect of destroy or break a PlayStation 4 and Xbox One S, and I'm curious just like everybody else. So I watched, and so let me give you kind of a rundown of the whole synopsis of the video and what it really entailed. So, and if you don't understand it, I'm sure you can look it up on YouTube. If you're watching this, you're already on there anyway, hopefully. This guy made a thumb drive, thumbstick, dongle, whatever you want to call it, where he puts this cap over the top of it, and he puts it in a USB drive of whatever it is, like a computer, and again, in this instance, he did it with an Xbox One, an S, and a PlayStation 4, and he puts it in there, and it's got this little test cap on it before he actually destroys it. He puts it in there, and he connects these wires to see how much charge is going through it, and gets a little spark off of it, and he wants to see, all right, how much power is going through this USB port. Okay, he connects the wires. There's the spark. It's good. Takes off this cap, and he inserts it into, first I believe it was Xbox One S. Puts it in the front USB port, and you just hear this clicking over and over, and it's fried. The screen of the TV goes blank, and you can just tell it's fried. Then he does it to a PS4. Now the PS4, he gives a little bit more resistance. He puts it in the first port in the front, doesn't, fry it. Puts in the second port in the front, doesn't fry it. Says, oh, well, this is, kudos to Sony for, making a well-rounded product, but I gotta try this last one. I have to do it. Puts it in the back, fries it. Now, I'm watching this, and at this point, there's a bunch of questions raised in my head. And this is why I want to kind of put it to you guys. This guy went out and bought a PlayStation 4, I believe it was PlayStation 4 Pro, and a Xbox One S to break them. To literally just break them. And now, I'm kind of speculating at this point where the funds came from, for the purchase of these actual systems, but I'm pretty sure it came from YouTube funds, where everybody starts watching him break all these other things with this little dongle, and people click on it, just like I did, morbid curiosity, and they want to see break the system, and they watch this video, because the more views it gets, the more hype it gets, the more money he gets, so on and so forth. And I'm floored by this, because again, it brings up questions in my mind. Okay, people want to see this. Why? Why do people want to see this? Well, because we're all into destruction. We all want to see this craziness. And we're intrigued. What is actually going to happen? He's going to break it. How is he going to break it without even using a hammer or whatever? So we're all kind of intrigued by it. But the dad side of me, in my brain, I'm going, this guy just wasted money. He literally just wasted money. And, if my kids were to ever do that, I'd probably spank them, to be honest with you. Even if it's 4 views and they're, not wasting their money, but they're still wasting their money by putting money out for a PlayStation just to break it. What are you going to do with that after the fact? Is he going to scrap it out and make, something cool with it and give it to somebody? Probably not. He got the views, he got what he wanted, and he's going to move on to the next thing. So that kind of got me thinking about myself. What would I do if this channel, if you guys out there watch enough of my videos where I can, get paid, I guess, essentially to do this, because, we all know, we all see the figures of these YouTube people out there that make millions of dollars just having them watch their videos that they put out there. So all it takes is a little bit of time. Obviously, you put more money into the video as you get better at it and you get more money. You're going to put more money into the videos, but you also have to sink some money into these things. So what would I do in the event that I actually could make a living off of this? Would I get a PlayStation or whatever and just break it? No, there's no way, not in God's green earth, would I ever do that. I couldn't do that because, again, that's a waste of money. And as much as I would love to have a disposable income where I could just break PlayStation 4s and Xboxes, then I would never do that, though. I would take that money for good. I have bills to pay, so I'm not gonna lie. If this actually gets big enough where I could have this pay for some of my bills, and then I had a disposable income through these videos, what I would do, and this will be later addressed in this rant, is I would actually go out and buy a PlayStation 4 Pro and an Xbox One S or Xbox One X, whatever you want to call it, and I would take it to people that actually could use it and deserve it. I would take it to, like a children's hospital. I mean, I have a huge place in my heart for kids because I have 2 of my own. And, spending time at a hospital where kids are sick, I've spent time in hospitals, especially with, my son. My son is autistic. I love you, buddy. Don't be ashamed of your autism. But my son is autistic. He's high-functioning autistic, and we've spent countless hours in, offices and getting tests done and getting evaluations done and seeing psychiatrists and whatnot. So I've got a special place in my heart for kids with disabilities and whatnot. So for that reason, I would take one or both of these systems. I'd purchase them with the money that I'd make, and I would actually give them to these kids, because who else would use them other than, adult video gamers? Well, kids absolutely love it. They take this to a cancer ward somewhere, God, kids would fall in love with it. And then, I would also consider taking it to a VA hospital. Now, little backstory on myself. I spent 9.5 years in the military. I was in the Army. Not only that, my father was in the military, and he was stricken with multiple sclerosis. And he got so sick that he actually had to live in a VA hospital. So I went and visited him while I was living with other family very often. And as being a kid, because I lost him at the age of 16, I would have to go in the hospitals and I'd be bored out of my gourd. Or I would see these, patients that were bored out of their minds. So, again, having that connection and that soft spot in my heart, I would take these systems where these people would love to have them and actually could use them instead of me putting a video out on YouTube to get more clicks to make more money, and blow another thing up. I would take it to a place that could actually use them and enjoy them and get a kick out of them, you know. So that's where my mind went when I saw this guy destroying something that people could actually use. I mean, for therapy reasons and get out of their condition of where they're at in life and sitting in a hospital. So, you know, like I said to you guys, I would love to make this a huge, you know, contribution like this to these places, but I can only sink my time into this podcast and this YouTube stuff right now. I can't commit tons of money. I'm not gonna go out and spend, you know, $2,000 on systems and give them away and hopefully I get clicks. You know, that's not the intention. The intention is, you know, if people care about the community of what the stuff we're talking about, we'll, you know, reach more views and, you know, we can use that money for good and put it out to people. So again, this is kind of my challenge to you guys. If I make a certain amount of subscribers and views, you know, this could be a profitable thing for me that I could give back to the community and those that I care about, kids and veterans. So I sit there with this idea in mind, and I don't know if it's going to work or not, but it might. If I can get 20,000 or more, you know, subscribers and make this a profitable thing, I will go out and buy a PlayStation 4 and Xbox One S, and I will get them to those, you know, facilities. I'm in the state of Michigan, so I would go to, you know, a children's hospital in the state of Michigan, and, you know, I'll film it so you guys can realize that I'm actually, you know, doing this. I'm not just saying I'm going to do it and then purchase this crap and keep it in my house. No, I've already got that kind of stuff. Take it to people that actually could use that stuff. So, like I said, 25,000 subscribers, and, you know, share this with everyone you can. I will actually go and donate those consoles, and, you know, not destroy them like some people do. So that's my challenge to you guys. Let's grow this channel. Let's grow this concept. Let's grow this, you know, idea of, you know, fostering a community of people that care about each other. Like I've said before, you know, that's something that we need to do more, is be a community of people that care and listen to one another and do things for one another. So, you know, 25,000 viewers, or well, 25,000 subscribers to the channel. I will go out and get an Xbox One S and a PlayStation 4 Pro, and I will get it to, you know, a VA hospital. I will get it to a children's hospital, and you know, hopefully brighten their day up. So that was actually a pretty long podcast, pretty heavy there at the end. But you know, this week we've had a lot of news come out, and I wanted to cover some things that are upcoming. I know next week we got a lot of stuff that should be coming out as far as news. Some movies are going to be popping up. So that being said, please remember to send all your questions, issues, concerns, discussions, whatever, to the email at bigcouchcoop at gmail.com. Again, don't forget to subscribe to the video. I'm going to try to put it somewhere if I can understand how to insert that little button. Again, somewhere on this video where you guys can subscribe. Don't forget to comment, you know, hey, this is horrible, or you don't know what you're talking about, whatever. And I'll try to read each and every one of them so I can get better at what I'm doing. Again, your input is what this community is built for, so this is what I'm trying to build. And I want to involve everyone in the community as much as possible to get a better connection, and that we can help people out. Like I said, that's what we're all here for. Again, subscribe somewhere, wherever this button is. And I said I wasn't going to point to the thing, but I kind of pointed to the thing, so hopefully the thing is in there. If it's not, sorry. Share the video, subscribe, and as always, remember to be awesome to one another. Call Seat Save, and I'll see you guys next time.